Things look like they're happening. Oh, it's happening. Okay, save. All right, here we are. Great. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this first of the monthly episodes of Curious Business. I've been doing some iteration of Curious Business now for, I don't know, like 3 years. And this is the monthly podcast vodcast, and our content for 2023 is really going to be featured around creators and the clients who need them. And so today it is very fitting that our first guests are two creators who create in very different ways, and who engage probably very different audiences to talk about both just the craft of creating, as well as, of course, how they're currently thinking about working on High Curious, and just how what they're looking forward to in that sense. So welcome Jessica Riley Chevalier to High Curious Business. Thanks so much for joining. Welcome Victoria Burns, otherwise known as Beauty Who Burns. Jessica, could you introduce yourself to the people?
Yes, hello everyone. My name is Jessica, also known as Jessica Riley Writer. I am a writer, cannabis aficionado, and poetry lover. And I also do a lot of content creation around these three things.
Victoria. You're on mute, or I can't hear you.
Sometimes it's the headphones. Yeah? There you go. Better without the headphones.
Good.
Okay.
Go ahead, Victoria. Introduce yourself.
Not be for a creator is not normal. My name is Victoria B. The Beauty Who Burns, content creator. I'm a makeup artist, content creator in relation to beauty and wellness. So you will see me puffing clouds and creating content. I'm also a marketing strategist for social media accounts as well.
Yes, and actually, Victoria is working with High Curious right now, helping us with our TikTok, because she's an excellent TikTok creator, and I am not. And we know that there are a lot of I can mute you until you're done doing your thing over there. And so, yeah, Victoria's working on our TikTok and helping us meet creators on TikTok, and that really segues us the first topic of conversation that I want to start on. Usually we always end on a high note, so we're going to start on a little bit of a low note tonight, and that question is going to be, what are the problems creators face in the cannabis industry? And of course, my goal with High Curious is to solve creator problems. So hopefully the problems that you have, we can solve either now or in the future. But I'd really love to hear from each of you and anyone in the audience. What are the things that are really grinding your gears, and how can the experience of working with brands get better for you? So let's start with Jessica, because I've already talked to Victoria about this. And so I also know what she's going to talk about, and it's going to be, a lot. So I want Jessica to go first.
Yeah, absolutely. For me, the problem is twofold: finding brands that are willing to pay and don't just want you to create content for free, and then getting paid. Both of those are challenges that I have encountered, even with signed contracts, even with deliverables. There are a lot of brands in the cannabis industry that are not willing to pay either at the front of the agreement or at the end of the agreement.
Yep. So I'll let Victoria take it over, and then we'll talk about how we're hoping to mitigate both of those problems, which I think will be, and on the brand side, there are other problems that they come into contact with. And then we're hoping to be the middle people without causing friction. So with and always in the creator's favor. So Victoria, take it away.
How's the volume now? Great. I think beyond being picky about who you select to collaborate with, and in order to get paid and receive payment, I think it's very much trying to figure out your people. I used to think like, oh, it's brands are not working with me. Like, those are just not my brands. You really have to find the things that align best and find as we're artists, we have, egos, and as their brands, they have egos, finding our way to ease both of those to find something in a comfortable range. Personally, for me, I like to do immediate payment on the first go around with my brand, and then after that I will do a net 30 or things like that if they're comfortable and I'm comfortable. But yeah, it's such a topic that almost feels taboo to talk about, but almost like needed, that you have to talk about it because you can't get through it any other way.
Yeah. And actually saw there was a LinkedIn post. Jessica had a LinkedIn post earlier this month, and then I saw a LinkedIn post that's got a lot of comments this week, and it's basically like, thanks so much to all the dispensaries who aren't paying their bills. I love that for me, and it's like, yeah, exactly. Like, I love that for me. Now, you're struggling. Now I have to bear the brunt of that. So I think obviously on the brand side or the client side, right? What do they say about working with creators? They say that it's hard to find good creators and figure out what is a fair price. And then they also say that a lot of times the creators will ghost on them. So either they'll send them a product, and they said they were going to post. And Victoria and I had a conversation about this yesterday. We think money should always be exchanged, even if it's $5, because when money is exchanged, it just changes the tenor of the relationship. There's no favors being done anymore. There's I sent you this plus this. You agreed that you would do this. This is business. So we are at High Curious. What we're trying to do is make it always feel like business. So you come on, you pay the money up front. High Curious receives that money, and then the creator creates the work. And assuming that High Curious doesn't hear anything from the client, the creator gets paid. If the client flags to High Curious that they haven't received their contracted creative, then we're not going to pay. So that's what I meant by in favor of the creator, because we're going to always be giving the creator the benefit of the doubt on it. So we're hoping that we can be a solution to both sides of this problem. And then, of course, the biggest challenge that we all face, as Jessica said in the beginning, and Beauty said as well, is finding clients, finding the right people, and finding the people who understand that they need what we do. So with that, I wanted to transition to the question of, what do you do? And why should brands work with you? And let's start with Victoria for this one. You got to come off mute. You're on mute.
Sorry about that. Would you say this is more of like me pitching myself, or like a general, like, what would a creator do?
You pitching yourself.
Me pitching myself. hi, I want you to like me in a professional way. So I create fun and silly videos in relation to makeup and smoking. Sometimes they're funny, sometimes they're, let's get glam and puff clouds. I think every single client has a different need, and so I'm versatile in the sense that I will create videos in the different genres that fit the different brands' style while still maintaining my authenticity, because I believe that is the most important in being able to sell something. Nobody wants to buy anything from somebody they don't believe in. So I really think that that's the most important part of my creation is authenticity, snappy transitions, because, we got to keep the people in that 3 to 7 second, and that's what I love to do. And so it gets to translate in a visual portfolio on Instagram and Hi Curious and all the other platforms I'm on.
Yeah. I forgot to flip over to what do you create question. So same question over to you, Jessica.
Yeah, so I have spent the last 3 years building up my social media channels. And what I offer on Hi Curious is to collaborate with brands that I like and believe in and can stand behind, and I give them access to that audience. So most of my audience falls under the cannabis consuming umbrella, whether they are just consumers or whether they are also in the industry. And I offer a couple different ways to get involved, whether you want to sponsor me on one platform like LinkedIn or Instagram, or you want to go across multiple platforms and do a YouTube sponsorship. My YouTube channel is called Puffs and Poetry, and it is where I get high and read poetry. So I like to collaborate with brands that I can personally stand behind, that I have tried, that I enjoy, because that is what my audience wants to hear from me, are products that I enjoy.
Yay. So I would love to just quickly share my screen and give a little quick look at Jessica's page on the Hi Curious Marketplace. Just give me 1 second while I find what I want to put up. Okay, cool. Great. Can you guys see my screen, this one tab of my screen?
Yep.
All right, excellent. So I actually queued it up so that we would go directly to Jessica's page. And of course, because we just put this up today, there's going to be some things that aren't finished. And I think this is a really good opportunity for us to just walk through the early stages of creating a channel and offers on the Hi Curious content marketplace and answer like real-time questions that creators might have. So Jessica, you did a great job and everything looks beautiful. Your creative is so pretty. So, but we do need a picture here, which I know you may have had some issues.
I thought I had linked a video there. I linked one of my.
So, you know what? It's sometimes people think this might be confusing, but this image and this video are not the same thing. So this image, when you go to, let me just see, I don't think I can get there on this. When you go to your profile page, I'll show you how to fix this, but this is like the big photo that shows up underneath your channel offer. So I'll explain it to you and show you which photo to use. But these images are great, what you did. So great job.
My little Canva images.
Yeah, well, look. I mean, look, this looks great. I mean, this,
Canva queens for the win.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Live and die by Canva.
Yeah, this is great. So do you want to just quickly, I know you just quickly talked us through your offers, but would you just kind of talk us through what you were thinking here? And also, just so you know, I had to change the the year price. I noticed that
I noticed that.
but I had to, because otherwise there was like, it was showing up as $1 over here and I couldn't fix it. It wouldn't reprogram. So I see the challenge and we can definitely uncode this in the near future. So if this becomes a problem, please let me know.
Okay. Yeah, cool.
Okay.
So I can definitely walk through these offers. So full disclosure, offering these services are new to me. For the past couple of years, I focused on client work and my content and copywriting services. So this year I am branching into something new with paid content creation. So these offers reflect what I feel are the most valuable accesses to my audience. But of course, that will be determined by the feedback that I get. So the first one that you're looking at is a LinkedIn partnership. My LinkedIn audience is my largest. I have over 4,600 followers. So here would be an offer to sponsor a LinkedIn post where I would chat about your brand, how I tried it before, parts that I enjoyed. It would include an image, a link, a tag. And then each of these also includes a report on the performance of the post or the campaigns. I come from the agency world. I know how important metrics are to proving what you're doing with your marketing. So if you want to scroll down, the next one is access to my Instagram audience. This one is a little bit smaller. There are just over 1,200 followers here. And while my LinkedIn is very industry focused and I talk a lot about things that I see in the industry and connect with industry people here, my Instagram is more of my own personal cannabis consumption, the habits that I have, and what works for me. So my audience on this channel is pretty familiar with hearing recommendations from me. I get a lot of requests for recommendations. So this one would be an individual post sponsorship. Beneath that one, we have the YouTube video sponsorship. And this offer gives brands access to my entire audience across all channels, which comes out to just over 6,000 people. And this is when I would feature your product in one of my YouTube videos during my Puffs and Poetry session. And it would also go out to my LinkedIn audience, my Instagram audience, my blog audience, and my email list. And then the last one there is an Instagram giveaway. I recently ran my first Instagram giveaway and I loved it and my audience loved it. And I thought this would be a perfect place to collaborate to support brands that I really enjoy. So this package does come with the requirement that the brands provide a prize package. Of course, a good giveaway always has a prize that people want to win. And this gives you access to a majority of my audience as well, because this would be shared on my LinkedIn, on my Instagram, of course, in my blog, on my YouTube, and with my email list. So 2 of these offers give you access to my full audience. 2 of them are smaller, more niche audiences.
Awesome. Thank you. So that was great. Thank you so much for sharing and bringing that all to life. I was thinking while you were talking, specifically as we had been talking about New York as such an important market, especially northern New York where you live, and that's not the city and everyone, like, where everyone thinks about New York, but really what an important part of legalization that is, and how brands that are starting to crop up in like upstate New York would really want to work with you now, because you do reach that New York consumer. And that's
Yes.
like really, I think that in your offers, you should edit that, and maybe also in your description, add something about New York consumers, because I do think that will be attractive to people. I think that people are looking for that. That would be interesting, right? To see.
Yeah, absolutely. I know that brands are always interested to know specifically who your audience is and who they're talking to. So disclosing how much of my audience, particularly on Instagram, is in New York and is in upstate where I am versus a channel like LinkedIn where it's more national would be valuable information.
Exactly. Yeah, great. Beauty, would you like to go through yours, or I know you haven't, I don't know when the last time you went through it was, so I didn't want to like blindside you on that. Up to you.
Giddy up.
Giddy up. All right. So Let me
Just
do it.
to preface, my offers are starting points. So if there's something that you feel more detailed or you'd like to see something specific tailored to your brand, I'm happy to create a custom offer just for your brand that I can post for you to select for yourself. So if you do see something that you're interested in, however, not something specifically that fits you, please feel free to reach out to Lauren or myself and we'd be happy to accommodate.
All right, so let's use the new search function to look up.
Are you able to include yourself in multiple state options?
Yes,
Perfect.
I believe so. But if not, uh, I see how you put California, Nevada here.
Yes, because I only saw my availability in California, and I wanted to make sure
Okay,
that it was clear I was available for Nevada and, for travel if needed for brands.
awesome. So, all right, take us through your channel.
So you get the general overview of who I am, the branding image that you will see across all of the channels to keep it consistent. I talk a little bit about myself and my offers. You've got my header, Canva Queens, and then after that, it's shot my offers. I mean, I like to be creative and try to use fun little quips. So the basic B is the offer of the month, $10 a month. We've got exclusive content in there from things that are not posted on any other channel, chats with for private events that I've paid for. I think the last thing that's in there is a chat with Gary Vee, listening to him speak about the cannabis industry. So I got to view that and I recorded it. And so if you'd like to subscribe, you can watch that Gary Vee private chat and see what was talked about, what was discussed for the cannabis industry. Think those are that would giveaways are available there, as well as there should be a monthly live that we're going to do together. So once we get subscribers in that, we'll be doing a monthly live and setting that up. Second one is Sesh with a B. Just like we're talking and chit chatting here, whether it be about business, cannabis, beauty and cannabis, industry topics. You want to sesh with me, you can sesh with me. And it's available for business chats or for getting to know people and making new friends. And then the third offer is the B Reels. Instagram's really my main users are engaged on that area. And I would say that I use any kind of video shorts that you want, a quick spot, transitions, depending upon what you want to do for your brand. I have a combined following of about, I think, 6,000-ish there. And those are my offers.
Awesome. Thank you both so much for sharing. Okay, now I have a gratuitous. Do you think this would be a good thing for people to offer? And would you be interested in offering this on Hi Curious? And the idea is brand ambassador. So similar to how we were just talking about Jessica creating content for New York brands, there's a world where New York brands need someone like you, Jessica, or someone like Victoria in California or Nevada to actually go into the dispensary and be a salesperson at the busiest times of the week or the month. And I see this opportunity for like a independent sales consultant who books appointments at local dispensaries and then tells the brands, I'm going to be at this dispensary at this time. It costs whatever it costs, $250 per brand or $500 per brand, to be a part of my showcase. And I'm coming as myself to recommend products that I believe in and like. And so, like, you're going to then obviously drive sales directly at the shelf. And I just think this is an opportunity. And I wanted to hear what each of you, coming at things from such a different headspace and how you are, just that I follow both of you guys and you guys are different. And so I'm excited to hear each of your opinions on that. Because I actually had this conversation with Hannah Iser Vioski, am I saying her last name correctly, today about this as well in Illinois, and everyone else is in a different state. So Jessica, what are your thoughts?
I certainly think it's an interesting idea. I've encountered brand ambassadors at grocery stores and liquor stores and other similar stores. So it's not like there's not an existing market model that you wouldn't be able to follow. I think if you are somebody who is sales oriented, who is extroverted like that, it could be a good fit.
Yeah. Is it something that you would like to do, or is it not really up your
Personally,
alley?
no. No. I'm not that extroverted personality to do that.
Right. What about you, Victoria? What do you think about it?
I see it a lot in California. Every time you go to a dispensary, they have a brand ambassador there for their brand, one brand or another. So I do see the value. People have a reference point to come talk to and educate themselves. I don't know how receptive it would be at a dispensary if it was like on behalf of a brand and behalf of the dispensary. Maybe. I've had offers where it's the dispensary offers to pay you or the agency offers to pay you to go to the dispensary and purchase a certain set of branding products for sure. So, there's that.
So I wonder, so the way I'm picturing this is that because like exactly what you just described is what happens here in Colorado too, right? Like a brand representative from Wana, for example, will be at the dispensary on Friday from 4 to 6, but that person works for Wana or is a subcontractor for Wana specifically. But this concept is a little bit slightly different from it because you are like more like an independent sales consultant where you have like a book of business of brands that you represent, and you're like, I take my show on the road as long as obviously the products are available for sale at the dispensary. These are the products that support me. And so then you could book like, I'm going to come in and I'm going to give, 5-minute consultations to people about, the different products that I love. And you can book, people would like book time with you, which means they're of course going to now pay, buy products. So the question is, does, I guess, the brand foot the whole bill? The brands, do they foot the whole bill and the dispensary just gets like kind of all that cash in a way and you don't get a piece of that? Or do you also get a piece of the dispensary thing? I don't know. I'm just interested in this as like a potential business idea that I think a lot of people who are passionate about cannabis could do this job.
I don't foresee them hiring an ambassador and it's like an influencer and ambassador goes together. So I feel like the dispensaries require their salespeople to be knowledgeable about every single one of those products in depth, as well as if you're lucky, you get somebody extra. I don't know if anyone would want to fit an extra bill when they're not even paying their tabs or their taxes at this point.
But I do think that it would be in the brand's best interest to pay some sort of monthly subscription to somebody to help keep them in the bud tend. Like ultimately the person, it's like the, pharmaceutical sales rep that came with the most goodies, their products got pushed, right? It's sort of the same, right? If the more time you spend with the bud tender, but that's expensive for the brand. So if they could hire subcontract someone who would keep them and other products that they felt aligned to in the dispensaries,
Maybe
world anyway.
I think maybe if it was done in a sense where it was like uh, a last minute fill in for an ambassador, or you don't have an ambassador, here is a temporary ambassador, temp ambassadors, like something like that, where someone's willing to fill in
Yeah,
at a moment's notice because they know the set of brands that your agency works with.
right, right. All right, well, moving on. I have so many
All
questions,
right.
and we only don't have that much time left. So, um, all right. So we are all creators, right? And I think if you were to look back a couple years, I don't know if you would have called yourself that. I know I wouldn't have a couple years ago, but now I realize that's like one of the main things that I am and have become. And so the question is, looking back and looking forward, like, what is your prediction for the state of the creator economy, or at least your stake in the creator economy? Where do you want to be in 12 months? Victoria, let's have you go first.
In terms of the creator economy, I think that the people that are consistent and most resourceful will be there in the long term, because short-term successes are easy to achieve with an algorithm every now and then, but the consistency of showing up is what will be important for yourself and for myself going forward in relation to brands wanting to be interested and stay interested. Uh, as well as for myself, I think the next 12 months, I'm up for a California Cannabis Award for makeup artistry this year, so I'm not sure. Thank you. I'm not sure what that will bring. If I obtain that, will that translate my business in one way? So I try to stay open, but in more terms, growth than not. Finding ways to network and be of service to my following, whether that be through education or entertainment.
Awesome. Great answer. Jessica?
Yeah, it's a good question. The creator economy is not going anywhere. User generated content is not going anywhere. It's a staple in most people's marketing plans at this point. And if it's not in yours, it probably should be, because people trust people. People want recommendations from people they know, people they trust, not algorithms or robots or whatever the hell we're getting into next. I think that it will be a little bit unsteady, as a lot of things are in cannabis and in the workforce in general right now, but that's not going anywhere. It's about, like you said earlier, Beauty, just figuring out who your people are and who your brands are and who you want to work with and who's a good fit for you. So for myself, I don't know. I've never done this before, so it will be an interesting 12 months exploring this avenue of paid content creation and finding the brands that I do enjoy working with and see the value in the work that I do in my audience. I don't know what's going to happen.
I'm really excited to see where it takes both of you, um, and us and all of us together. It'll be really interesting to look back a year from now, to see what we actually did, and what we thought we were going to do, and the twists and turns. And I think if we've learned anything in the past few years and in cannabis, like, the only thing we can expect is more change. So,
Yeah.
All right. So I'm going to have a follow-up question here. So we talked about predictions for the past, for the future. So we talked about predictions for the future. So what do you wish you knew when you started your creator journey? Actually, let's start with Victoria for this, because it's really telling Jessica, what does she wish she knew when she was in Jessica's shoes, just a couple of years ago, when she really leaned hard into building her brand and working with clients.
What I wish I knew. To have appropriate lighting. To also have an unwavering fear of yourself, despite no matter what they want, no matter what anybody says, even sometimes yourself. Know what you want, take that goal, go for it. Because you will have doubt. There's no doubt about that. And lastly, I find what your niche is, specifically what you do for people. Create your content in relation to that specifically and serve them. You're not there, as much as you'd like to think you're there to serve your own ego, you're there to serve people and help them through their journey through cannabis in your way.
That's great advice. Great advice. And, Jessica, as I know you recently just taught a live class and you seemed very excited about doing that. And I know that education is education and intellectualism around education, I think seems important to you, or that's how I vibe to you. And I want you to stay high if that if I do you know what I mean? Like I love that you're doing poetry, and it's also because my mom is an English teacher, and the whole it really vibed for me. Okay, it's really weird. But I put you in this she must read the New Yorker, and the cartoons definitely are funny to her.
That's hysterical. I have an old soul. I like live classrooms. I like poetry. I like quiet nights and tea. I love all that stuff. And education is hugely important to me. There's so much misinformation about cannabis. There's so many lies that we've been fed on purpose by people who want to keep us away from this plant that I, swallowed hook, line, and sinker. I'm very passionate about making sure people understand whether or not you use cannabis is a personal choice, but you deserve the facts around how it could help you, how it may not help you, but how it might really be able to help you.
Yeah. And do you want to talk just a little bit about how it has helped you?
Yeah, absolutely. I came to cannabis a little bit later than life than a lot of people that I've talked to in this industry. I did not start smoking until college, and it took me a little while to understand how to use it and how it made me feel. And once I was consuming regularly, it was like, wow, it's quieted my brain. It's not usually quiet up here. This is nice. I didn't know it could feel like this. And I started leaning into it for stress relief, for sleep, because I've always been a very poor sleeper. And then I started leaning into it when I was exercising and working out and doing yoga. And I started smoking before I was writing and journaling and all of these things that I had previously said, I know they help some people, but they're not really for me, were suddenly for me.
I relate so hard to that. I mean, you may or may not know about me, but I didn't start using cannabis until I was 43. And I was, before that, I'd only tried it in college, and I'd had what I now know is like a panic attack. Mm-hmm. But I thought that was what weed made you feel like. So when I first started using it, I would just take tiny little hits. And then I was like, this is just making me feel just a little good, a little better. It made that, making dinner for the kids that I hated not so bad. It's just, I was like, oh, this is what it feels to feel joy, right? It didn't, yes. It really so I think there's so many people who cannabis can help. So stay in that lane of education. And I guess, what I meant by stay high is stay rigorous, stay true to the science. And I know that's something that you're passionate about. And even as you're getting into this, you're doing sponsored content, don't lose yourself in what you think other people think your content creation should be. Yeah. Do only what you want to do.
Yeah, absolutely. There are brands that I want to work with because I believe in and I think they're up to par. And there are brands that are just not the right fit for me and my audience. And that is usually pretty apparent pretty quickly.
Right. Okay, let's see. I have let's see, one more question. Oh, this is a great question to end on. We're going to end on a high note. So, what do you love about being a content creator? So we'll start with Victoria for this one.
I enjoy being the ham that you are enjoying, visually, verbally. It brings me joy. It makes it's like an external expression of the creativity that cannabis provides me. You're welcome. I don't mean that in a negative way. Like, I just mean like it's really fun. It makes things fun. It makes me thoughtful. I used to work in a pharmaceutical industry, and I would smoke a bowl and like analyze spreadsheets. Like I'm very intellectual with my usage, as well as recreational, because of the diversity required by the community in order to uh, network and be like, wow, I went through that stage. Let me go through the wow factor. Let me go through the thoughtful factor until I found just be yourself. Just do yourself. Do you. Be a ham. You like being a ham. Do that.
I think you also I don't know about you, but I got to the point where I was like, well, if I'm not getting paid for this, which I wasn't for quite some time, right? And, then I may as well do what makes me happy and makes me feel good. And that's when it started to hit and started to be resonate with people because I didn't give any fucks anymore, you know. So anyway, Jessica, what do you love about being a content creator?
I love the conversations that it starts with people. I love getting to tell people what I do in the conversations that it starts, and I love the responses that I get online when people want to know more, or they want to share their experience with me. They want to talk about weed because I didn't used to talk about weed a lot, and now I get to talk about weed all the time, and that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I don't know about you guys, but I don't know. Did you go through this time where, when you first fell in love with weed and you realized you wanted to talk about it? That's the only thing you wanted to talk about, and the only people you wanted to be with were people who wanted to talk about weed. I'm still kind of in that place a lot, but to be honest, but no, truthfully, and you couldn't shut up about it. Are you still there?
I did not talk about it a ton just because I did not have a lot of people around me who were consuming weed. I had like one or two people that I could talk to, but other than that, people were like, wow, you're doing yoga a lot. You're going hiking a lot. How are you doing all this? And I'm like, drugs, but you don't want to hear that answer. So now I get to talk about it even more, which is great.
Yeah, and it's remember when you thought I was such a rock star? Yeah, well, I was a stoner rock star.
Yeah, like, oh, I was actually high for that. That's how.
Exactly. That's how we do it. What about you, Victoria? Anything else to add?
The journey will always be ongoing. So if you think you have like an endpoint in mind, I think like we talked about like where we thought we were going to be or where you think you're going to be versus where you actually end up. I think enjoying the cloud and floating upon it is very pertinent to the journey of an artist.
It's really so helpful to have an artist who identifies as an artist. It can't explain to you that how freeing that is. For me, I don't identify as an artist. I have never had the I don't know, the freedom or the permission, given myself the permission to identify as that, because I've always had because of the stigma of being an artist and it not being something that actually makes money. But not that I even knew until recently that I wanted to be that. I just knew there was. Yeah, it doesn't matter. This is not therapy.
I'll let it be.
But yeah, it's so interesting to hear you, and I hope this has been good for you as well, Jessica, to hear from Beauty, who really, is Like, I am me, I am going to stay me, and that is what art is. It's the expression of me. That's why I keep saying to people when they come to join the High Curious content marketplace, I keep saying to them, what do you love to do? Or what do you love to create? Because I want people to sell offers of things that they actually want to do each month for companies, with the goals of helping companies succeed in the cannabis industry. Because as we all make great content and support one another, then all boats rise and everyone comes back. So, I want to be respectful of your time. I'm just taking a peek at the clock. We have about 8 minutes to go. This has been really good conversation to me. Is there anything either of you would like to add, say, ask before I'm going to I have a closing question.
No, this has been great.
All right. Awesome. All right. The closing question is, if there's one thing you could change about the cannabis industry, it doesn't have to be about creators or anything like that. It could be, you can be creative about your answer. Okay. If there's one thing you can change about the cannabis industry, what would it be? Jessica.
Interstate commerce. I want to order brands from California and Nevada and Massachusetts and get them shipped to my door in New York, just like I can for beer and wine and any other kind of alcohol.
Cheers to that, girl. Victoria, how about you?
A legalization for the whole United States. I want everybody to be able to get it. You know, at first, let's get everybody a sack first before I want to feel anything else about pay equity or anything. I want everybody to be able to smoke so that it could change the people's minds. I think that would really, access would really change people's minds.
I think that we sometimes forget about that, and the politicians especially forget that the more cannabis there is in the minds and hearts of the people in the places where the conversations are happening, the better and better the conversations get. And, you know, and because they have access to this medicine, that helps us all be more well. And ultimately that's what it is, because we can operate from the most well version of ourselves. All of us who are using the plant in that way are optimizing ourselves with it.
Yeah, and I feel like your both of your requests would trickle down as well in the process, being able to change the interstate commerce, bring people, things like that. It really, wow, such a beautiful experience and topic. Thank you.
Yes, I think I agree with you, Jessica, and I would take it like, I think that cannabis should be treated like any other commodity style plant, in that but with that it could be, that is regulated. And, you know, we have so many proxies for it. We have tomatoes. We have, you know, they're grown in the best place. We grow tomatoes in the best place to grow tomatoes. We grow avocados in the best place to grow avocados. And the fact we're actually crippling the infrastructure of the industry by forcing these like grow houses in states that shouldn't be growing. I mean, New York is, you know, separate. New York has a growing season and all that, but like, you know, we don't need to be growing in certain, you know, in certain states, right? They're dark. They're not, it's not good for cannabis. They're wet, right? Like, let's use Colorado and California and get, to Victoria's point, get the people the access to the best medicine, rather than just cropping up an industry because we can in like, rush, 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 put it all together, get that first crop out. No, let's get real medicine into people's hands. And that's what this really does. This, legalization, yes, descheduling, federal banking. Hopefully we'll get some of our wishes in the next couple of years. And in the meantime, it's good to be at the beginning. So with that, I want to, so the last question is, I ask a lot of people this question. This is my favorite, like, what is your theme song? So like, let's say it's like your pump up song, right? Like if you were to go out on stage to speak, you would probably have it in your headphones before, or you would even maybe come out on stage to it per se, or like, that song that gives you that, like, so what is that for each of you guys?
Oh God.
Oh,
I want to look at my Spotify
that.
playlist now and see what my most played songs are.
All right. I'll make you a deal. I won't make, you just send it to me after. And I'll make a nice video.
The first song that popped into my head was Higher Love by Whitney Houston, but the Kygo remix.
I love it. Yes. Say it again. What's the remix?
Kygo remix of Higher Love by Whitney Houston.
Oh yeah, the DJ.
Yeah,
Kygo,
the DJ remix. It's so good. It takes her vocals on that incredible song and just makes you want to get down.
All right. So when, because next week's content, newsflash, it will be based off of this live stream. And so when I make an Instagram post, I'll definitely have that song and your other stuff with you. So yes.
Wonderful.
And what about you, Victoria?
I feel like that's personal, but I will share because y'all are gonna laugh so hard. If
I love it.
Where the song is from, that it's most known for. It's Canned Heat by Jamiroquai. It's the song that Napoleon Dynamite does his fucking freestyle dance. That's my jam. I really
I love it.
Enjoy laughing and listening to that song.
Thank you for sharing your heart song with us. That was amazing. I appreciate that so much. And really, I just want to say to you, both of you, thank you so much for getting started on the platform with us, for being patient with the fact that it's not perfect and it's still an MVP, and knowing that together we shall overcome these challenges with getting paid and finding clients. And this time next year, we're going to see a lot more brands that really understand what it is that we do and that they need us. So we just have to keep, like, we're the pioneers, and we have to keep forging away at saying what we do is valuable, what we have is valuable, this is how much we get paid. And I hope to be a part of everybody's businesses, so that they get paid on time, and so that the commerce starts to run through this industry. So thank you guys both so much for joining me tonight.
Thank you.
Bye, guys. Appreciate you both so much. Thank you. All right. I'm going to turn you guys both off, and then it'll just be me. And I know that there were a lot of people who joined, AKA Crystal, and also Jeff. So we had a great conversation. Ladies, thank you so much for joining. And we will be having a lot more conversations like this with creators, where we talk about what you do and what you love and what you sell. So thank you so much for joining this January episode of Curious Business. And I hope you enjoyed the content, and we'll see you next month. Next month, our guest will be Katie Cravens, CEO of buildmysop.com. And Katie and I are going to be talking about how we've been working together for a year and what that looks like and how we have really learned from our relationship. So can't wait to share that with you on February 15th at 4:30 Mountain Time with Katie Cravens on the next episode of Curious Business. Thanks so much for joining, everyone. Have a great evening.